Hey, I am so excited to speak with you, Leah Vernon. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, good, good. All right. So, I have a couple of questions. First and foremost, thank you for taking the time to speak with me and sharing your insight because I know it will be a great conversation. My first question is, what is the story behind Beauty and the Muse?
Oh, okay. So well, to make a not long story short, but yeah. So I was had a lot of body issues growing up, like lots. I was fat, black, and Muslim, which is like no one really knew how to handle any of those levels or layers. So I was just kind of like, okay, floating around, trying to figure out what was life. And
Mm-hmm.
I idolized white women, like white musicians and white models. So I grew up like really, really not liking my black skin, my fat body, my Muslimness. I just wanted to be a white woman. So I felt like it was easier and they were beautiful, and black necessarily wasn't beautiful at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I had like no basically representation of like black is beautiful, or different body types could also be beautiful. So
Mm-hmm.
people would be like, "Oh, you're really photogenic," and I'd be like, "No, stop lying. That's a
Mm-hmm.
lie." Just basically just saying, it's a lie. I definitely couldn't be beautiful, someone like me, or photogenic. So fast forward, I was an adult and married, and just riddled with like self-loathing, more eating disorders, things of that nature. And my friends forced me to get an Instagram. They were like, "Oh my God, there's like Instagram beefs on Instagram. You need to see them." I'm just like, I have Facebook already. I don't need Instagram.
Yeah.
So basically, I got an Instagram, and I started. I figured out what a hashtag was,
Mm-hmm.
and the first, for some reason, I put plus size model or something like that, and Essie Golden popped up,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw like her pictures, and the first picture that I remember seeing of her was when she had like this full blown like military style outfit on,
Mm-hmm.
like big hips, big boobs, just like fierce as hell. And it's like, oh my God, is this real? Like,
Mm-hmm.
there are plus size models out there. Like, this is crazy. So
Mm-hmm.
then I looked into Velvet D'Amour and Tess Holiday and Elise from Ready to Stare. They all have blogs at the time too, and like up and coming modeling careers. And I'm like, oh my God. So the next morning, I don't know. I was in bed and I just woke up and Beauty and the Muse popped into my head. And I'm just
Mm.
like, I'm gonna blog. I have no idea how to do it. I have no idea how this is gonna work. I'm gonna take photos and go to fashion shows and post it online. So that's
Mm-hmm.
Beauty and the Muse started.
Wonderful. And by doing that, having that journey, was that the pinnacle in you learning to accept yourself and your sense of beauty?
Yes, definitely. Once I started like seeing that, I can like be fat and be fierce at the same time and still like wear my hijab or wear my turbans, and dress the way I wanted to unapologetically. Like, I started to feel better about myself, and then also like seeing the women who are in the body positive movement or in the self acceptance movement. It was just like they love their bodies and they kept it 100, and
Mm-hmm.
they still were super fierce. And like I just was like, okay, I can do these things despite what the mainstream media is telling me to be and how to look like and who to sound like. I can be myself unapologetically, and yeah, it just went. Now I'm just like a fat fierce babe. So
Very nice.
yeah.
Okay. So it seems like the conversation of like, should we use the term plus size? What is body positivity? Like, it seems to like circulate over and over and over again at Plus Model magazine. Like, me and the editor in chief and blog editor and other contributors have like spoke on the subject, but it still seems to like, I don't know, be somewhat confusing in the community. What does body positivity mean to you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's people always ask me about the body positive movement and like where how it started, what it was actually meant for and where is it going now.
Mm-hmm.
And I have mixed feelings about it sometimes in its direction,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I just feel like a lot of companies have jumped on the body positive movement because it's popular and it's trending,
Mm-hmm.
um, and plus size because it's popular and trending. But we are not a trend.
Mm-hmm.
Plus size women or curvy women, fat women, obese women, overweight women have been here and will always be here.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with men. we're not going anywhere, and we're definitely not a trend, which kind of upsets me because like we're human beings, and I feel like now we're being seen as objects, overly sexualized. Sometimes they're like, oh, fat women's bodies have to be sexualized to be attractive, right? So going, or people making, including bloggers, making money off of being the token fat person or the token curvy person, and not really getting into the like how it started or why it started. I feel like people are out here just to make money off the brand, which kind of upsets me. Not to say like you shouldn't, be about your money, but at the same time, body positivity and fat acceptance started because people were, committing suicide. People were told they were ugly, told they were worthless, told that they wouldn't get this job, couldn't get this man, or couldn't travel there because of their weight. So it goes much deeper than, selling this product or selling this clothes or being pretty or being hourglass shaped. It's so much more than that. And I tell people that, to me, body positivity means living your best life in the body you have now. Not waiting for a body you could have or a body that you used to have.
Exactly.
Living in the now. And that's basically my simple version of what body positivity means to me.
I agree. Big people have been around since the beginning of time. We are not going anywhere. I think it's a positive thing to say you're plus size. I think it's positive to accept your body now. So I'm glad that yes, you're on. We're on the same page with that. So now, do you think now that since from when you started to now, do you see more diversity? Do you see more bloggers and like fat activists that look more like the public, or no?
Well, I started back in 2013. Oh my God, that's such a long time ago. I started in 2013, and I do see some changes in the industry as far as like more inclusion and diversity. I see a little bit more body diversity, which means they're not using like this hourglass shaped people. But when we get down to the nitty gritty, the most popular ones are the ones who are white looking or light skinned. They look culturally ambiguous. They're tall. They, have like hips and butt and breasts, but not like a stomach or arm or double chin. So it's like I'm seeing more inclusion, but I feel like they're also commercializing a fat body now. So it's just like I don't really know if I should be excited or if this is tokenism or like what it is. I hope that people just get more real and raw with it.
Okay.
I do see some influencers and bloggers who are different body types, and some of them are like disabled, or some of them are dark skinned, or some of them are short and fat, or have like a big stomach and no hips, but they don't really get that much play. They're not like mainstream.
Gotcha.
And that's what really upsets me is like, why can't someone who doesn't fit the mold be mainstream?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, gotcha. I'm mixed about it. I have mixed feelings about where we're going with the body positive movement.
With your social media, you are so active, and I really love the type of content that you put out there that's like real. I mean, just this week, I think you were posting about how it's hard out here, right? And when you're trying to do pictures and blog, and maybe the compensation isn't always matching the efforts. What motivates you to like really be that honest and that be that truthful with the world?
Yeah, well, you probably already know this, but I got divorced last year. And that was very hard for me because we've been together for 10 years, married for 8. And just how it happened was very shady. As you know how people be really shady with it and very secretive and hurtful, and everyone knows but you.
Yeah.
So then you start to question your body, you start to question your motives, you start to question everything. And then, I just... as you get older as a woman too, of color, it's also all those different levels and layers on top of me not having a family support. Like my mom is very mentally ill. My father has never been there. My family is not very supportive in any way. So when you have all these different levels of mental illness and like life stuff, financial stuff, you try to seek things that are going to make you happy or fulfill you. And to me, helping other women understand that they are more than their struggles or than trauma, that really helps me with my own trauma.
Mm.
Sometimes, before when I was married, I felt like I was stifled and I couldn't be myself. I know a lot of people feel that way in their relationships. And then on top of that, because I'm Muslim, um, we're told not to put our business out there, to look the part, to sound the part, to be perfect. And that's just not what it is. So when I got divorced, I think I made a status after I announced that I was just like, I'm a writer first. Before I'm a model, before I'm a body positive activist, I'm a writer and an artist. I'm a business person, and it's about to get real raw. And I'm not doing this to get like attention. I'm doing this because my story helps other people, and people learn through stories. So at that point, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to talk about mental illness. I'm going to talk about not being confident all the time. I'm going to talk about, being objectified during dates because I'm curvy. I'm going to talk about being a Black woman, a Muslim woman, a broke woman, an overeducated woman living in America. So at that point, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to be very candid. And even like people think that I'm super candid. I'm actually only telling you guys a part. Like a lot of stories that I haven't shared or told her is going to be in my memoir that I'm working on with my agent.
Beautiful.
And that's like 80%. Like what you guys see on my page and that I share is but maybe 20%. So I have a lot more to say.
Wow.
So it's I have a duty to keep it real. There's so much fake noses and fake asses out here already. There's too many bloggers sitting there trying to pump fake on Instagram about how amazing these fancy donuts are, or how much money they're getting paid, or what fashion show they're at in their little blogger clique. Like I don't do that. So I keep it 100% and also have bomb ass pictures. So that's my brand.
Yes. So how do you manage everything? Being a blogger, a model, an educator, a writer, a body positive activist, like what tips do you have for people out here trying to like manage 20,000 things at once?
Well, first, I don't have children. Like, do not have kids.
Oh no.
And then if you do have children, you need to have a support system and a hell of a good like structure and organizational organizing your day. Like a lot of my friends have children and they can't possibly get as much as I do in a day done with their children. It's physically impossible. So I tell people all the time, like, you need to organize your day. So, I have 2 hours blocked for this and an hour blocked for that and, half day blocked for this. Like, you have to be really, really on it as far as scheduling goes. Being nonchalant or being like lazy, that's not going to get you anywhere. Like, I've pulled like 16-hour days trying to get everything done. Like, I do not have an intern. I do not have an income from my blog. I barely get paid for modeling. And people try to play me left and right. But like I'm my own marketer, my social media. I'm the person who answers emails and does the interviews and sends the pictures out, edits the photo. Like, I'm everything. So like I couldn't get all this done unless I was organized.
Yeah.
And I maximize my time, and also ask other people to respect my time. So that's how I get a lot of stuff done. And I'm grinding throughout the week and throughout the weekend. Like, I do not stop, like, ever.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
So now, with being so honest and so real, I assume you definitely get a lot of negative and hurtful commentary, right?
Right, yeah.
How do you deal with that, and what tips do you have for other people who want to be open and honest but are trying to learn how to deal with that negativity?
Yeah, and that's a really interesting question. Well, good question to ask, because a lot of people, they've asked me like how I built my brand, and I tell them bomb ass pictures and stories. And they're like, well, what stories do I tell? I'm like, well, you talk about your life. And they're like, no, I can't do that. I'm just like, well, why not? And they're just like, well, because either like I'm gonna hurt someone's feelings, because like family usually is the reason why we have so much trauma, and our spouses and our boyfriends and our situations and our friendships are what create a lot of issues, including ourselves. And people don't want to out themselves like that because they're going to get some type of backlash, right? Or they're going to be seen as, oh, they're always complaining. Or they're going to be seen as, this person's woe is me, right? or they're putting their business out there on Facebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them it's always a way to tell something, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not telling people to be messy about it, but if you can take a situation that you've learned from or are still
Mm-hmm.
going through and write it in a non-woe with me way, like you're on the right step to being more open and candid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a way to do it. I'm like a trained writer, so I know how to say things in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone doesn't have that, so I tell everybody, take a creative writing course, like, take a writing group, get a writing group together and just like kind of brainstorm some things. But for people who like to talk shit about me, which is a lot, I have 3 things that I do. I either ignore them because a lot of people want attention. People will come and say things just to get attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a life. They're probably in their parents' basement or whatever. I don't know what they do in their life. I don't know what haters do or trolls do in their life.
Mm-hmm.
I ignore them. I either delete and block them, and the third thing I do is if I feel like it's kind of like an uninformed comment, and I can kind of redirect them to something more positive or to a more informed ending, I will try to educate them.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the 3 things that I do, and then I stay in my own lane.
Mm-hmm.
Because once I get out of my own lane, then I've basically failed. So I don't even most of the time don't even get into it with people who talk crazy because they've
Gotcha.
already come to a conclusion of who I am.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
there's no breaking that.
I love that. Yeah. And now when it comes to since you've started in 2013, like what have been the biggest ways that you've been able to take your platform and grow it and you do more things like off the blog, right? Like whether it's through teaching, whether it's through conferences, hosting, like what are the how can I guess what were some of the things that you use to take your platform and grow it?
I think, and this is probably sounds super cliche,
Mhm.
but when I first started my blog, it was like, oh my God, I need all these followers, I need all these likes and engagement.
Mhm.
And I constantly was thinking about how can I get more likes, engagement, how can I get more, big blogger status. And even now, I'm still not at a mega blogger status.
Mhm.
I have followers, but it's not like, oh my God, like 500,000. So, yeah, I was constantly focused on that and not focused on the story and the content. When at one point I was like, you know what, I don't really care about that anymore because if I care about it, it's really taken over. Like I can't even do what I need to do to grow as an artist. So I don't really care anymore about that. And then I swear to God, when I stopped caring about engagement likes and stuff, people started following me and featuring me because they liked what I was doing and that I was kind of carefree about it. I feel like when people are focused on the numbers, it kills creativity and it kills what you can possibly be because you're focused on the numbers. Same thing with weight. When I used to have eating disorders, I would focus on the numbers on the scale, not how I felt on the inside. You know what I mean? Or how good of a person I was or how bad of a person I was. I was focused on the numbers on the scale and nothing else mattered, nothing. And same thing with Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat. When you focus on the numbers, you're not focusing on the right thing. You couldn't possibly be focusing. When you're buying followers, you've hit an all-time low. You're focusing on the wrong thing. Right. Instead of what's your core value of why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
So is my follower count low because of that? Probably. But I just feel quality over quantity. That's just me personally. What I tell people all the time is just great content and amazing photos and engage with people because people don't talk to people anymore. And people love when you talk to them, you engage with them. That's human. And people are not human anymore, I feel like. They're very, robotic. So I'm trying to bring that back into social media.
Awesome. All right. And then my last question is this. What advice do you have for others to go out and be unapologetically, unafraid and just fearless?
I think it takes time to get there. It takes time to get there. Because people were like, oh my God, Leah V, oh my God, you're so confident, you're so you don't give a fuck. And
Yeah.
I'm just you're right, I don't. But it took some time to get there. I didn't come off as this person. I grew into this person And it's definitely a mindset. Like, I can't tell you to be confident, right? I can't tell
Mm-hmm.
you, oh my God, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, your hair, your skin, like, you just need to be like, you're all of that in a bag of chips, right? You have to feel that inside. For many years, people were like, you're so photogenic. You're
Mm-hmm.
so photogenic. And I'd be like, stop lying to me. That is not true. That's not true. It's
Yeah.
not true. It's a lie. You're lying. And many people said it. And like, this is like when I was a teenager, and this is like I'm old now. I'm like, what? I just turned 30. But like
Oh.
years, I'm just like, now it's just like, okay, so now I see what they were talking about. When I look at my photos now I see what they saw in me that I did not see in myself. So
Mm.
it definitely starts with self first. And then it grows, and then you'll have days that you don't feel confident, that your teeth is fugly, and the fat under your arm is wiggling, and your skin, you got a pimple on your chin. You're gonna have times where you don't feel so confident,
Yeah.
but it starts from within. And if you can be mostly confident and feel mostly proud of yourself, then you're good, and then you will be going to the right step into being unapologetic and unafraid of what society feels and thinks about what you're doing.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it even better than that. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Leah. You are a badass. I support you in what you're doing, and just keep doing it. You know what I mean? Because every day, you're able to inspire and affect so many people, and that's a blessing, and that's really amazing. So thank you for everything you do.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. All right. Have a good day, girl.